Hello everyone, I'm Dwight Drummond. Welcome to CBC News Toronto. Well, Toronto Blue Jays fans are not hitting the panic button just yet. There's still a lot of fight left in your team. But after last night's 10-3 loss to Seattle Mariners and falling behind 2 games to none in the ALCS, fans are keeping their fingers crossed.
It's rough, yeah. We lost 2. Now we got to go 3 on the road. Yeah.
I want the whole unit clicking together. Right now, one game we're seeing the pitching lights out, one game we're seeing the offense lights out. I just want to see like a fresh, full unit, you know?
If any team can do it, it's us. We've done it before, so let's go.
That was disappointing, but I still believe in them.
Jays and 7, let's go.
Let's go, Blue Jays!
Yes,
Game 6, they're going to go on the road. Let's go!
Yeah, what those guys said. Sense of nervous optimism there. This team is not playing like the offensive powerhouse that knocked out the Yankees. Greg Ross has a look at what went wrong in last night's game.
If you're a Blue Jays fan who paid good money to come here to the Rogers Center for Game 2 of this American League Championship Series with the Seattle Mariners, well, this was a long and difficult night, and the frustrations started pretty much right away. In the top of the first inning, it was clear that this was not going to be another great pitching performance by the 22-year-old sensation, Trey Savage. He gave up a 3-run home run to Julio Rodriguez in the top of the first to give the Mariners an early 3-0 lead. Savage would only last 4 innings, giving up 5 earned runs with 4 strikeouts. And on the other side of the ball, things weren't much better for the Blue Jays. Their offense struggled once again. They managed to put up 3 runs on the board after the first 2 innings, but that was it. They could not score any more runs in this game. Meanwhile, the Mariners, well, they scored early and often in this one. They beat the Blue Jays by a final of 10-3. They take a 2-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. And as Jays manager John Schneider knows, his team has to be better moving forward if they are going to have any chance of getting back into this series.
Just looking at it as a whole, we got to figure out ways to generate some more offense, and give the guys a ton of credit for coming back, down 3, you tie it. They just made more swings than us the last 2 games, kind of what it comes down to. So we got to figure out a way to limit damage, 1, and 2, generate more offense.
I think, we stick together and we have each other's backs, and we go out there and give it our all every day. That's all it is. We just got to bounce back and keep being competitive and go out and bust our butts. That's it.
All these guys have played a lot of baseball in the clubhouse, so they've lost, they've won at a high level, and I don't know. It's the way baseball works, but I wouldn't count this group out. This group's special.
This series now shifts to Seattle, where they will play Game 3 at T-Mobile Park on Wednesday night. The odds are not in the Blue Jays' favor. In the history of Major League Baseball, only 5 teams have ever come back after going 0-2 to start a championship series. To make matters worse, no team has ever come back after dropping the first 2 games of a championship series at home. If the Blue Jays are going to win this series, they are going to have to make history. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
20 living hostages held by Hamas have now been freed in exchange for hundreds of Palestinians imprisoned by Israel. All part of the ceasefire deal brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump. It is a milestone for many around the world, including here in Toronto, where for 2 years, people have been calling to bring all the hostages home and for an end to the war. Dilma Nokdak with reaction.
Ma'ayan Shavit hasn't slept. She spent the night watching videos of hostages being released by Hamas.
I think I won't sleep today and maybe until I just collapse. It's a very happy day.
Over the last 2 years, she's felt a range of emotions, including sadness and anger. Her cousin Carmel Gat never made it home. She was taken by Hamas on October 7th, but murdered months later. She holds both Hamas and the Israeli government responsible.
Over 1,200 civilians were murdered in this war. A lot of Palestinian civilians that unfortunately, also got hurt or killed in this war. And all of this could have been prevented.
At the Albert and Tammy Latner Forest Hill Jewish Center, emotions are high.
I'm watching every video of every kid return to their parents and their family. And each one, I need a mop because I'm crying.
In exchange for the living hostages, Israel released nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. It's the first phase of a ceasefire deal that's sparse in details.
This is a long-awaited moment of relief for our people in Gaza, especially for the last 2 years. For the first time, they're not sleeping under the sound of drones, under constant bombardment, and the constant threat of death.
The end to the violence is just one thing that activists have been calling for.
This ceasefire right now is doing nothing to hold measures towards accountability. So on the Canadian government, real action is sanctions and arms embargo on the Israeli state.
Meanwhile, Ma'ayan Shavit says the Canadian government failed, and she has questions for the Israeli government she's unsure she'll ever get answers to.
What happened in October 7 and how it came to happen, how it was allowed, because, you know, we grew up knowing that even a fly going next to the border, you know about it.
Shavit is still wearing her Bring Them Home shirt as she and others wait for all the deceased hostages to be returned. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Thanksgiving is now over, but one teenager from Toronto celebrated the long weekend with a long walk, making lasting change. JP Gallardo shares her story.
Wait, 1, 2, 3.
13-year-old Evangeline Link just returned home from her 100-kilometer walk with a couple steps and a somersault for good measure, making the trek all the way from Binbrook, Ontario. She walked a path by Lake Ontario over 4 days, with family and friends joining her along the way, including her local MP.
The third day is always the hardest because it's like you're not done yet, but you've already done 2 days, so you're pretty exhausted.
This is now the 4th year she's done the walk, raising funds for Covenant House Toronto, which supports youth struggling with homelessness.
I want to do this walk because I want other people to have the same privileges and opportunities that I have. My parents have granted me of such an amazing life, and I want other people to be able to experience that too.
And it's not an easy walk for anyone.
It's you're sore by the end of the day, but she keeps on going, and she's the only person that walks the full 100 kilometers. So we'll trade off walking a day or two with her, but she's the only person that makes it the whole way. And
even with some obstacles along the way, Evangeline keeps on going.
We've seen her keep going with a sprained ankle. Last year she had a fever while she was doing it. And as parents, we were like, do you need to stop? We can call it. We can come back and finish next weekend. And she just powers on and keeps going. And it's, there's not really words for that kind of, for being as proud as we are for what she does.
Whenever it gets hard, I just think to myself, 1 foot in front of the other. And before you know it, you've done a kilometer.
So far, Evangeline has raised over $45,000 in the 4 years she's done this walk. And in a statement, Covenant House Toronto's CEO says, "We're so grateful for Evangeline's support and inspired by the way she continues to show up for other young people in this way. Every voice and action raises awareness about youth homelessness in our city and across our province."
And it makes us so proud. We really see the impact of and how much homelessness there is in Toronto these days. And the thought that she's helping youth potentially prevent that is amazing. So we're very proud of her.
JP Gallardo, CBC News, Toronto.
Another feel-good takeaway from the weekend, some good being done in our community. Scott Mission was serving meals to those in need over the Thanksgiving weekend as more people are facing the rising costs that leads to food insecurity.
For some, it's an introduction to Thanksgiving because they're first-generation Canadians. For others, it's a remembrance of the emotion of what it is being marginalized or separated from family.
Thank God for this place to make you feel very welcome on holiday. Without this place, you know something funny? We would be so lost.
The need for this kind of support is pretty high. Poverty is on the rise, and we're feeding at this point over 1,000 meals almost every day.
Besides roasted turkeys and pumpkin pie, Scott Mission also hopes visitors feel a sense of community and connection with donors supplying hundreds of cards for the guests. The charity says they've served more than 380,000 meals in the past year, adding 1 in 10 Torontonians rely on food banks to get by. You are watching CBC News Toronto. We'll have more stories from our city when we come back.